Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about 5 key tips necessary to break out of the anxious, preoccupied, dismissive avoidant trap. So this is the typical the anxious avoidant trap that you often hear talked about. But what I'm doing here is creating a small series to go through the different types of relationship dynamic traps. So, two fearful avoidance, a fearful and a dismissive, an AP and a DA, an AP and an FA, all the different sort of dynamics here. And throughout January and February, I will be doing a weekly live webinar inside PDS. It's about an hour and a half with some live Q&A at the end, all about these different traps, how we can break through them, how we can overcome them, how we can mitigate them, and the different things that we need to do in order to show up and move our relationship to the next level, reprogram the patterns in the relationship, and just break free from these things so we can have loving, settled, lasting relationships where we actually feel like we're thriving and connecting instead of resenting and being frustrated. So anyways, if you want to join for that, please come be a student of the school by clicking the link in the description box below. And if you missed the live version of this, where we'll have all the students in there and you can come on video if you would like to, then you are always able to watch back the replay and also type your questions in the chat if you don't want to be there on video. So anyways, without further ado, we'll dive into some tips for this video specifically. And remember, these are high-level tips. There's actually so much to unpack when it comes to these relationship dynamics because there's so many nuances that I think go overlooked. And it's really getting to the bottom of these nuances, learning about what these patterns are, learning strategies and tools for creating change and transformation here, and the action steps needed to do that so that we can actually move our relationship and move the needle. So the very first thing is the anxious, preoccupied individual has to learn to meet their own needs and communicate their needs. A lot of anxious preoccupieds tend to have this idea that's like, if you love me or care about me, you should know what my needs are. But remember, dismissive avoidants often don't have a lot of modeling around two parties meeting each other's emotional needs and really being there. So it's really an uphill battle when the AP expects that the DA should know without communicating. And also when the AP doesn't take the time to reflect on who they are, what they're experiencing, and what they need and introspect so they can then use that information appropriately in the relationship to share what they need and what would make them feel fulfilled. So it's really important the AP learns to meet their own needs and show up that way in a relationship. Number 2, the dismissive avoidant needs to learn to be vulnerable. Anxious preoccupieds want to see that vulnerability. They feel connected to vulnerability. It makes them feel like, oh, wow, we're together in here on this. And so the more there's a little bit of vulnerability, it doesn't have to be like nonstop vulnerability, but just some of that, the more the anxious preoccupied will tend to feel settled and calm in the relationship dynamic. And number 3, dismissive avoidants must learn to reassure sometimes and say things like, hey, I'm needing some time to myself on Sunday, so I'm going to have to cancel our lunch plans, but let's make sure we just have a really great time on Saturday evening together. And just know that I feel great about the relationship right now. It's just how I process. It's just what I really need to recharge. And just by explaining and being transparent and reassuring and to actually give words of affirmation and reassurance in the relationship actually helps the AP feel more calm, safe, and get their sense of certainty from the relationship, and will stop them from having that need to spend excess of time and feel more comfortable with a more balanced approach to the amount of time spent together in a relationship or the amount of communication going on, let's say over texting or over the phone. And so when a DA just explains that they have different needs, can be transparent about what they're needing and why, it just allows the anxious preoccupied individual to feel more settled, more safe, a greater sense of certainty. And it's very useful for this dynamic. Number 4, the anxious preoccupied must learn to self-soothe. This is one of the most important things. And I know a lot of anxious preoccupied individuals feel like it's really hard or really scary. It is completely possible. We have so many students inside PDS who are literally expert self-soothers now. So we have a couple really major tools inside PDS that you can use to self-soothe: emotional regulation processes, somatic processing, all kinds of different stuff, but specific processes that work best for APs. We have something called the emotional processing tool. If we can't learn that in the relationship with the DA, it's so difficult because the AP will keep feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling panicked because I perceive space from time to time. And that's going to happen in this relationship. And rather than being able to regulate and then ask for needs in a healthy way or create strategies and solutions collectively as a couple, instead the AP usually approaches the situation from an emotionally charged space, which DAs are not very great at handling. They usually feel like, oh no, sort of like worried and afraid of conflict if they see the emotional charge in somebody else, or shut down, or don't want to feel responsible for somebody else's emotions, rather than feeling like as a team we can support each other through our emotional state. But DAs don't realize that when that emotional state is very strong. So just really important to be aware of. And then number 5, realizing that the need for more time together or more space apart do not have to be in conflict. I've seen this so many times in the APDA trap, and it's like, listen, if you have more quality time, but less quantity of time, this relationship can still work magically. It just requires that the quality of time is there, the reassurance is there, the consistency around the quality of time is there. So for example, like sometimes APs will say, oh, my partner is really busy, they've got kids from a past marriage, they are going through a career change, they can only see me once a week. And like, I don't think I can handle that. But what I found is, as long as there's a way out of that, hey, it's just once a week for the next 3 months as I adjust to this new job. And during this once a week, we'll have like a 4-hour dinner, and we'll put our phones away. We'll be really present with each other. We'll hang out, we'll laugh. And in the meantime, we'll have a consistent pattern where we talk for 15 minutes every night before bed, and we always send a good morning text. Like if there's consistency, things with certainty, quality of time always trumps quantity of time. So these things that we think are so conflicting and oppose us so much, we can actually come to really healthy compromises around. And I seriously just want to go on and share so much more about this because there's so much to say, but hopefully this is sort of a good place to start the wheels turning. And if you want to do a much deeper dive with like the action steps, the strategies, the tools, the worksheets to support you through all of these different things that we need to work on in the APDA relationship, please join PDS for Jan and Feb, where we'll go through a deep dive of all the different attachment style relationship dynamics and dig everything up and do the healing work necessary to thrive in these relationships as a whole. So thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.